What's up, fellas? What's up? So we going live a little early. Want to try something different because I know when the podcast start, it is a lot harder for us to connect with the members with keeping the chat alive and also just with everything else going on. So just want to take a sec to just connect with you guys as we're setting up. So again, trying this, seeing how it works. If it doesn't go too well, then we know we will do it again. But I feel like this is a good opportunity to connect with you guys while we set up. And you guys can get a little in on some of the stuff that happens in the background with us yapping it up, because that tends to happen quite often. Okay. Give me a second. Again, this is just a setup, man. Getting the show going. All right, let me see where the boys are at. I think it'll be like, what the hell is going on? What's good? Oh, man. Also, give me that. I'm not going rogue, fellas. Things are kicking off. I'm hearing some noise. What is that? Sissy. All right. Again, setup. So, it's funny. What up, Game Jumper X Sherry Gaming? What is good, bro? What is up, fellas? It's funny because I didn't tell the members that I was doing this. It's just improv. I was setting up. I was like, "Yeah, let's go live real quick, see what's going on with some of the people." But yeah, set up. Back. That's funny. What up, Kayla? What's good? Welcome. Yo, it's all good, fellas. It's all good. I actually have to send this link to Gamer Jumper X. I mean, Gamer TV. That's funny. To do. All right. We are golden. Back to No Man's. How is that game, bro? Are you liking it? What are your thoughts about Outriders, man? What are your thoughts? We're gonna have a really intense debate here, which should be really good, because we're gonna have 3 members. Actually, speaking of members, I should. What's up, fellas? You guys are on.
Yeah, we were backstage, like, oh, okay, you know, it's all right.
Yeah. Doing something different, man. Just setting up while I interact with the audience here. 0 games for me. What is up, homie? What is good? Let's see. Did it? Okay, cool. I still have to send this invite to Gamer TV, so let me do that real quick. Holtz, how you been, homie? This again. It's another good week overall for Google Stadia.
Well, that's it, isn't it? For Stadia, yes. Stadia, yes. But you know, it's been great. I've been really enjoying it as always. Like, not really much to put it down on from my angle.
Okay.
But fun week.
Gaming much lately this week?
Just Dragon Quest, and I've just been putting my thumb over certain games that I want to click buy, but I thought I need to dive deep in it a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Like I said, spoiled for choice, aren't we, really? So I've only got limited time to play so many games, so
True. Hear you in that. How about you, Monkey? How you been, homie?
Yeah, I forgot to unmute myself and do a Duncan there. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good, guys.
Doing it, Duncan.
Love it.
Yeah, just trying to get into Outriders, guys, and give that another go. I didn't like the demo. I didn't enjoy it. I thought we'll give it another go when the game releases. But for the most part, the game looks fantastic, by the way. But it's just not working right now.
Are you playing it?
Are we live, guys?
Huh?
Are we live with the chat?
We are live.
Oh,
yeah.
I want people to see the setup process. And, when we go live, it gets really intense and we're like really focused on the notes. So I just want to get a little time into kind of interact.
What? You do notes? I was just swinging it.
Right. It's crazy. This week is a little light, though, compared to the last 2 weeks, right? Note-wise, I would say. So.
Yeah, because you've had pages and pages. I think like last time was like 16 pages. It's a document.
It's insane, man. Insane. But I think it'll be good. Again, just want to interact with the audience. I think this gives us a good opportunity. Again, with it being a lighter week, right? We can connect better. I love No Man's Skies. They get me. Yo, again, shout outs to the team of this game. When this game came out, I don't know if a lot of you guys followed the launch, but they promised a lot, right? They were like, this is going to be a huge game where you can, what were they saying? Like, no gameplay is the same, like huge world. And then the game came out and it was like not living up to people's expectations, but then they kept updating after updating after updating, and now this game is quite brilliant.
They get my respect totally, because they could have been a developer that stood away and said, okay, a game failed, but they pushed it and kept on pushing it until loads of people actually jumped back in it. It was it was amazing to see like this rise again.
Yeah So kudos to them. Again, shows that with time, right, things can this right here is Google's model, right? Put it out there and then update it in time to get it to where you want it to be. And so this brings hope, for Google Stadia. And they launched it. People are like, they should have put a beta tag on it. But hopefully, right, Stadia can continue to progress to be this awesome product in the end. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. So we'll see how that all plays out. And the company has to stay committed to the cause, right? And that's the big thing, right? If Google's like, now we're done after a year and a half, then that becomes an issue. But if they can work to try to perfect this and make this the best product, then it can be something special.
You were supposed to bring us the cloud service, not destroy it, Google. like that's something that you see out of Star Wars.
Oh man. Speaking of which, I don't have the notes pulled up, so let me get that going. But how are you guys in the chat? GTP, what's good, homie?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's up? What is up, man? Can't wait to hear. Can't wait for that segment, man. It's gonna be insane, bro.
My frustration level has just been.
Yeah, I want so many F drops. I want it all cursed.
If you want it, we can do it.
Pure untapped potential, raw emotion.
You've got last week to make up for, so you need to go all in.
What's up, Duncan?
Oh, I can be bad now and we can talk about everything since we're not live.
We are. Oh boy. Wouldn't that be funny, right?
Is the game over? Seeing Duncan with on.
When I left, it was 3-0. So there we go. Who's on my back for 5 points? Who do you think is on my back? Every year I put a player on my back and it always scuds them. So who hasn't been? No. Who has had an inconsistent season?
Firmino's been inconsistent for the last 6, so I'll go with him.
That was last year's.
What's up, Mark?
It is Alexander Arnold on my back. So, you know, he's been any player I choose to go on my back or always scuds them.
So there you go. His shirt reflects his personality, brings the bad news, whoever's on his back.
Exactly. And I've got my essential supplies in. The best crisps.
It's good stuff.
Potato.
Gamer TV, what is good, homie?
What's up, man? How are you guys?
Good to have you on here, man. Did you get the show
thank
notes?
you. Yes, I did.
Cool. So you prep for that little segment that you, Chief, and Jared's gonna have an Outriders, huh?
Oh yeah, you know that's an easy one.
Cool. I think you're the right guy for that, man. So
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. No,
See, Mark,
this is really cool.
For sure.
Mark's saying exactly the same as me. Show notes. Wait there. Where?
Notes for the show. It's clever. We should do that every week. What do you mean we do that every week?
Right. Where's Chief? Hopefully he can make it.
Yeah. Hopes this is something for you as well. Since you said my shirt reflects my personality. What about my mug?
I just love it. His shirt, he's got potato crisp.
Vortex. I don't know. When we tested it was working. That was quite some time ago. I don't know if it still is, man. But I would hands down say this is probably not my favorite cloud gaming service. So if you can find a different alternative, I'll highly recommend it. Check out that State of the Cloud video if you haven't yet. State of Cloud Gaming, I think is called. But yeah, hopefully that will help you find another solution. I would not recommend Vortex.
No.
But for sure.
At this rate, we might not have no choice but to go to Vortex with half them going down.
Yeah, that's true too. That is true too. Sure. Cool. Let's see. A lot of good Stadia games. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that. 10 games this week. Absolutely insane. I would, like if you were to put Google Stadia's 10 versus GeForce Now 12 for this week, right? I think that would be a good argument to see what we're talking about with quality over quantity. Gave Stadia a lot of flack for quality, but if you look at these 10 games compared to GeForce Now's 10, I would say this week at least Stadia had more quality with game releases. But again, we'll talk about all of that stuff here. Should be fun. Do you think Microsoft would any xCloud tier to Game Pass? They talked about this, and I think eventually they might maybe have like xCloud out of Game Pass, right, and price that separately. We'll see. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts?
I think it's too much of an ecosystem that they're building out, and as soon as xCloud comes to the Windows PC, it's not going to be an xCloud app. It's going to be in the Xbox Windows application where you get Game Pass games at the moment. So it's going to go in there, and then you'll have an option for games which can be streamed. It'll be like Stream Now, or ones which are as part of Game Pass Ultimate to download for Game Pass for PC. You'll be able to download, but I feel like it's too much of a bundle that they're putting together to try and like come up. Like, why would they make a cheaper membership option? It seems like doing themselves out of money.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think xCloud or Xbox game streaming, as we call it now, Xbox Cloud Gaming, sorry. I think that's always going to be an additional service. I don't think it's going to be the main focus for quite some time while they focus on the consoles and Game Pass as a whole, because that's their bread and butter in it. They'd be cutting off their own hand.
And I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say that Mr. Typical say, but we all agree on this podcast and everything. No, I agree that I don't think the price is going to go down. I think the price is the price is the price. It's going to be what it is at this moment and for the foreseeable future. But I think we're going to see a higher price come in for this because we've already heard that they are looking at additional models going forward.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a xCloud, still calling it xCloud, bundle with a Xbox streaming stick. I think that is absolutely nailed on, and you're be able to get a stick, a controller, and you pay a wee bit more each month, and you're tied into your contract. So I think that's going to be your Xbox tier.
And hey, bring another tier, and then you can add more fragmentation and just call it Microsoft Cloud Gaming. So you'll have an Xbox separate, and you'll have a Microsoft for PC and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get rid of games with gold. That needs to go.
Yeah, it's a bit outdated.
We're gonna put Chief on blast real quick. Ready? Look at that. He's not even ready. Just put the spotlight on him real quick.
There it is.
Oh,
hey guys.
Oh.
So, who forgot to tell me that you're starting 15 minutes early?
Improv, bro. Improv. I told no one.
Nope.
I was just setting up, and I was just like, it might be fun to just go live a little early, just interact with the people.
He was testing how sharp we are with the Discord replies.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Let's go 15 minutes early. That'll get everybody here on time.
Somebody pressed the wrong button.
No, we're good. What up? And your mama knows what's good. Go ahead.
I think that's what Ace done. He accidentally pressed the wrong button, then just went with it.
Just went with the flow, yeah. No, but it's good. By the way, maybe you might know more about this, Duncan, but we're about to go live soon. But there's a charity event going on right now, right? I was watching, and your mama knows, and you kind of kicked it off, or Stadia Game of Dad did, or something like that. But if you want to point some light to that and let people know what's going on with that event.
If you go to Gamer Dad's YouTube channel, I'll try and find it and drop it in the link later. They're doing a 24-hour live stream from noon UK time to noon tomorrow. And it is Red Dead Redemption, a lot of it online. They're doing a load of things. I've got a couple of people involved there, and it is 24 hours. And unfortunately, for every £500 is raised, I am a day off Twitter, and we're up to 3 days so far. I wanted to go to 2 weeks. So try and get donating there. So off you go.
Well, Duncan, I'm still worried about your withdrawals. I'm actually creating a Twitter simulator just so you can stay off for a bit. I'm looking forward to it as well. No, I'm not. You know what's going to happen? As soon as I go off Twitter, there's going to be drama after drama after drama after drama. And I'm going to be going, hi.
You're going to be itching to come back so fast.
Instead of being one to escape, it'll be Duncan has escaped. Off he goes.
Yes.
So, Holes, you're just creating a bot that's going to argue with him.
Yes, that's it. No one tell him it'll just be an offline mode. He's arguing with himself.
What's up, everyone? It's good to have you guys on here. Duncan, it's going to be... That's funny. All right, cool. Let's kick this show off. It's already kicked off, but let's officially start it. Where's that intro, man? You gotta give him the intro. Hopefully that did not pop your speakers or eardrums, but let's get into this, man. We have a really fun show today. We have a lot to talk about. We have a special guest, and we're going to do something a little bit different today, and that's why we have Chief on here as well. So Outriders, as you guys know, came out this week, and it came out for most of the cloud game platforms. And these guys, Jerry, Gamer TV, and Chief, did a lot of testing with this game. So we're going to discuss which platform they felt ran it the best, and just more about that game and overall its state, because it seems to be struggling still right now. So that's going to be a fun discussion to have with all three of them. But then we're going to cover some Stadia news with 10 games coming to the platform this week. We got our pro games this week for Google Stadia, which was a lot of good stuff. So we'll get into that. GeForce Now, again, had the GFN Thursday with 12 games coming to the platform for this week. So we'll get into that too. xCloud is getting backwards compatibility games. We're going to look into that. And then also MLB The Show 21 is coming to xCloud, which is an incredible news. So we'll talk about that. And then Luna, 3 games announced for the platform. We'll get into that. And then The Faith of Shadow. I want these guys to give their feedback on what we think is going on and possibly what can happen to the Shadow platform. So to get started, let's introduce the panel again. So much to talk about. So to get started, Holtz, how are you doing, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
So due to loads of misfortunes on like the gaming side, especially with the Outriders, I sort of stayed away from it and just carried on grinding with Dragon Quest 11 on Gamepass clouds and that, because I'm not risking jumping into new games at the moment where I've got a huge big backlog at the moment.
Okay. So you talked about pre-ordering Outriders.
Yeah, so to me, I was going to originally do it on Stadia, but
Okay.
then because the panel was talking about 1080 60 and ray tracing for potentially Outriders, I thought, well, maybe I should actually purchase on, GeForce Now, because, we got seen the price on Humble Bundle was a lot cheaper, and I thought, well, maybe I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
But then closer to the date, and I seen like the issues and it didn't have ray tracing and all the problems with the server side and this, I just thought to myself, nope, I'm staying away from that and I'm just going to Game Pass.
Okay. So
because I was really worried because I really support Square Enix, but this game is recommended at 6 gig 1060, GTX 1060. And when I didn't see it have ray tracing, I was like, why would I want to play this game on this platform that Square Enix is not supporting the game and not showing the potential of the game you can actually play on the likes of GeForce Now?
Yeah. True.
So I thought I'd keep my money in my pocket and just play it on Game Pass.
There you go. We'll get into that as well. So much Outriders conversation to be had. But let's check in with Duncan, sir. How are you? What have you been doing? Also, what game, what platform?
I've been playing on basically everything this week, and the game I haven't been playing is Outriders. And I wasn't convinced of the game to start off with. I'm probably going to jump into it maybe next week. I have it ready to go, sort of, but I'm just waiting till all this stability issues calm down. But I have been playing a heck of a lot of things. I've dived in a bit into Resident Evil on Stadia again. My usual sort of non-Assassin's Creed binge at the moment. I'm playing that on the go on Mikishi, but I'm gonna surprise people here. The platform which has actually surprised me the most this week, and I'm waiting for the laughter in the panel. I did a tweet about this last night, and it was Apple Arcade. And over the last couple of days, they just did a big drop of games, and I am getting sucked in to those. There's a new game by Mistwalker there, and there is a game by Platinum as well, which have dropped onto it. And I'm going to tell you this: Holtz wants to go on the Apple Arcade and play these because it is right up his alley, and I think it is real interesting what Apple are doing here, because it looks like they are starting their game up that way. I know it's not really cloud, but it does sync across all the devices. But it's something to keep an eye on.
So the game's from Miss Maker Walk. But are they like JR? Because they make some pretty good JRPGs.
It's a JRPG, and
Nice.
the Platinum game is something else. The art style in that is absolutely fantastic. So,
Nice.
again, gaming is just going everywhere now, and if these landed onto the Switch or a different platform, you would be talking about them. But because they're an Apple Arcade, they are going to get missed by a lot of people. But these are big, proper sort of games.
So are they touch control games? Were these games specifically like designed for iOS devices?
It's iOS. It's not just iOS. It's across iOS, TV, iPads, Macs as well. You start playing on your phone, you can jump onto your iPad, you can jump onto your Mac, you can jump onto your Apple TV and just play it across. It all syncs up, and it's class. On the phone, it is touch controls, or you can play it with your controller there. So it's real interesting.
Yeah.
Is it compatible with the Xbox controllers and stuff like that?
As far as I know, I'm using the Kishi, and it's picking up the Kishi straight away.
Are you serious? Wow. So
Yes.
this is a big deal, guys. So if you guys don't know who Platinum Games are, they're the makers of Bayonetta, which is a highly respected franchise, and Miss Walker is a highly so this is Apple paying money to get exclusive games to their platform. I mean, that should be an eye-opener. If they ever do want to get into the cloud gaming space for real, you can see that they're gonna
I'm just having
kind
a
of
quick
take
look
that
now.
approach.
There's a game on here, the highlights game called Fantasian. Don't know if that's one that you've seen before, but the graphics and the RPG elements of that just look insane. Now, I dumped Apple Arcade about, a month after they started because it was just trash. But I've just also seen Star Trek Legends is on that. So they are now pulling some big games into arcade. That's extremely different to what it was 6 months ago. So yeah, that's very interesting.
So is it like a I don't know, we have
Just
a
like
role
Antstream but paid.
So you pay a monthly fee and you have access to all these games.
It's like Gamepass.
Wow.
Yeah, it's £5 a month.
Or if you're part of Apple One, it's part of Apple One, which I'm a part of Apple One.
So am I, yeah. That's why I've just gone and had another look.
And you've got access to that, so you've got these games. I think it's just something to keep an eye on with Apple going forward. And we know they've put out the patent as well for cloud gaming as well. So I think by the looks of things, the games they're dropping here is... a lot of people are just going to overlook it, but they are buying some absolute banging games there.
Sorry. I've just seen Ace NBA 2K21 arcade editions on here now.
Are you serious? Oh yeah, right here. What the hell does that even mean? Arcade edition. That is quite interesting. What the heck? But
yeah,
wow.
some quite cool
look at
games
that.
on here now.
Look at this, fellas.
And again,
anyway, I think we're getting a bit off tangent.
Yeah, we're going off tangent, but again, if you've got an Apple TV, you can play it on your TV. You've got an iPad, and it just all syncs up, and it's quite cool, and just to keep an eye on. And some of these iPhone games that they've got there, they've took out the microtransactions, so they're the full versions. You don't have to worry about ads or anything like that as well. There is some obviously throwaway sort of games there, but they do have some of them absolutely banging games. From Miss Walker there, we were saying with Fantasia, and it's a demon something. I've actually got on the phone, but I can't see my phone at the moment. But and the art style is just amazing.
Interesting. Well,
yeah, if you can see that, if you can quickly pull up Fantasian before we move on.
Where is that at? I was
just
trying
search for it. Yeah.
Where? Here?
Just do a Google search for Fantasian.
Okay.
I think someone who had involvement in Final Fantasy has an involvement with Fantasian, do they not? Duncan, I think you'll back me up on that.
Yeah, that's the guy who made that. That's Miss Walker. Yeah. They were part of that. So yeah.
Trailer here.
Word of Demons. Word of Demons. If you look up Word of Demons as well, it is just astounding what things are going on here. And I think.
Oh.
This is a wild tangent, but it's technically cloud because it's going between all the different platforms or where you play on.
Quite interesting, though. Wow. Okay.
Apple Arcade was absolute trash, literally a few months ago. I do keep an eye on it occasionally, but these games that have just dropped are insane. Star Trek Legends has been advertised all over Reddit for like months, and that's like one of those pay to play type games, and it's just dropped on Apple Arcade. So no microtransactions, nothing. That's very interesting.
Is that any good? Wow. Okay. So yeah, maybe maybe we'll look more into this, man. This is quite interesting. But again, that's the beauty of this panel. Just people playing different things. Like this was not even the notes, but Yeah, well, definitely. Hopefully, you guys watching. If you have an iOS device, check this out. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, we'll look more into that. Thank you, Duncan, for sure. Mark, how are you, sir? What have you been doing? What have you been playing? What platform?
I'm good. Probably same answer as most people. A bit of Outriders. Tried it on xCloud with the Razer Kishi first. Recorded like a first impressions video that was completely useless because it turns out my phone recording software records through my microphone simultaneously. So all you can hear is me hitting triggers on the Kishi. So that was a nice throwaway video. Good use of my time. xCloud is still the same for me. In terms of performance, still audio. At this point, it could completely come down to distance away from data center, but I'm still getting the same performance I got 6-8 months ago. So just gave it a quick go, and then dropped the money to get it on Steam, because then through Steam, installed it on Shadow, had a quick go on there. The Steam version you can get to obviously on GeForce Now and Boostroid as well. So across all three of those platforms, been having a go.
That's awesome. So maybe you also can jump in that Outriders conversation, because it seems like you've tried it on multiple platforms. But we'll get into that. But thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. How about you, Jared? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? What platform? And just real quick, thank you for becoming a member, BMox81. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks.
Yeah, so same Outriders. I would like to say I've been playing Outriders a lot, but I've been more trying to play Outriders more than actually getting to play it. And I mean like hours of trying, just sitting here. The amount of videos I could have made on anything else in those hours is it's pretty sad. But when I have been in, which has been Series X mostly, it's pretty good. The game has a lot of potential, but man, this launch is in some ways worse than Cyberpunk launch, and it's not in the same ways, but it's nasty right now. It really is, and I just haven't experienced anything like this in a very, very, very long time, if ever, on my end right here with Outriders.
Are you saying like the game is bugged out launch wise?
Yeah, the game has huge issues when it comes to performance optimization type of things that we'll talk about, especially for PC, which carries over to GeForce Now. And Stadia is suffering from a lot of the same issues, but it's not just game side. They've been suffering from network issues with the game as well, that a lot of people have been talking about. So that's another whole thing. So a lot of it's kind of twofold, where it's the game and it's also the network. And locally, PCs have struggled unless you have something super powerful or you're getting really lucky. And consoles have been the best place for the game so far.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. We'll get more into all of that. How about you, Chief? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? What platform?
Well, mostly Outriders before the demo. And then obviously once the release dropped, I've been diving onto the full version. As Jerry said, there's been some server issues, but we've all seen that this game didn't seem to be that popular from a lot of the videos and the interest. However, it is in the top 10 Steam concurrent games with over 113,000 concurrent players today. And obviously that's just Steam. You've not got the consoles or Epic versions in there. So I think it's another launch catastrophe of completely underestimating player counts and server loads, and their servers have been down almost as much as they've been up. So they are definitely struggling right now, and it is a huge shame, and crossplay is a major problem, but we'll come on to that later. But yeah, regardless, I've been playing pretty much Outriders for the last week and a half.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, Chief. And how about you, Hell Monkey? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? What platform?
Well, I jumped back into Cyberpunk this week because of the updates. I've eventually got some time to sit down and run through it and just see exactly what they have fixed. It was an encyclopedia of fixes that we do know. And I just went back over the things that where I ran into problems the last time. And for the most part, the game is running 100 times better. And I'm playing this on Stadia, by the way. Yeah, it looks better. The game feels smoother. There is still some issues. I ran into a new issue where I couldn't switch camera view in the car for some strange reason. So when I was driving, it just would not change camera view. Close the game down, open it back up. It worked fine. A couple of hours later, and the bug was back again. So it's far better than it was, though. I've enjoyed it so much better. I can actually complete the mission this time without having to load a previous save file and lose loads of progress. So yeah, and then apart from that, just jumping in and out of FIFA from time to time on Stadia, and doing a bit of retro stuff on Antstream Arcade on the mobile at night times.
Yeah, that looks good. I'm not into retro games, but after watching your video, I think you covered that too, Jerry. And I don't know, like I might give that a look, man.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll play it much, but I think it'll be good to check out for sure.
An iPhone.
Yeah, right. But anyway, just a disclaimer. I thought I was pretty good at FIFA, and I tried to stream that game, and I can't tell you the embarrassment that I faced streaming that game, and I put the game down, and I think I'm retired officially from FIFA. But Hell Monkey's pretty good though, so kudos to you for keep still playing that.
Makes you feel better, Ace. My 7-year-old beats me.
You were that bad, Ace. It made me confident to jump on and actually play you.
Oh gosh,
so I can get a win.
It was bad. I should delete that stream, but it's still up if you guys want to catch it. But anyway, we got a guest today, guys. Gamer TV, and again, I think he's gonna be a good addition to this podcast because again, if you guys don't know anything about Gamer TV, he does a lot of good things. Very knowledgeable when it comes to comparison and testing games out. And check out his YouTube channel. Link is in the description below. But if you guys are into like cloud gaming comparisons, and I don't know if you do console, but check it out. Good stuff. But let me give you the floor. Let people know what you do, and also let them know what game you've been playing and what platform.
All right. Well, I'm a developer. I'm a subcontractor. I typically come in during the middle of a project's phase, towards the end of the phase, and I go through code, triple check, double check. I'm kind of that last step before I tell the team, all right, guys, the code's looking good. Let's get it out. And my specialties are pretty much around Unity and Unreal Engine. So I've been doing that for a pretty long time now, and God, man, my eyes, and this is a little off topic, but my eyes are shot. I'm like, my daughter, she's 13 years old, and she'll catch me squint because I don't wear glasses yet, but I need them. And she'll see me squinting, and it's such a natural, it's a habit now from looking at all the code and the tiny thousands of lines. And she's like, Dad, just get glasses. Like, oh God, that's me admitting my age here. But as far as games that I've been playing, I jumped back in like Hell Monkey. I went back to Cyberpunk just to check out the 1.2 patch. And it's really good. There are some issues here and there, but overall, it seems every platform received a nice boost in the right direction. So I was happy about that. Jumped into a ton of Outriders when I can. I mean, if the servers are up mid-mission, it's killer. I actually, it's crazy. Before I hopped onto here, I was running a mission. And I actually dropped my first legendary piece of loot, and boom, gone. The server just cut out. I'm like, dude, do you know how hard it is to get a gold piece of anything in this game? Oh, wow. and the server just cut out. At that point, I said, I think I need to leave this alone. So I've been across all platforms with that. From Stadia to PC, PlayStation, Series X, GeForce Now. And I have some pretty interesting things to talk about with that.
For sure. Again, great to have you. And just going into the next. So I've been playing a lot of Stadia just to bring this up. A lot of good games. Again, 10 games. We'll get into that released this week that definitely caught my attention. So I was working on a Ys 8 gameplay video, and that game I beat that game already in the Switch, and that game just pulled me back, and I've been playing a lot of that lately. If you guys are into JRPGs, man, give that game a look. It's free if you're a pro member. Great game. Trials of the Cold Steel 3. Holt, I don't know if you played that, but I tried to get into that game, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
No, I can't because I thought I actually played the Trials game before, which I have, but never the Trials of Heroes Cold Steel.
Yeah.
So when I was about to press buy, I thought, wait there, I've never played 2 and 1, and then when I seen on the internet it's heavy story driven, so you have to play the past 2. I was like, okay, well I need to read up before I click buy, because I thought it was the game that I've already previously played, but it's not.
Yeah. And I didn't know anything. You're right on with that. So I didn't know anything about that. Picked the game up, and I was like, "What is going on?"
So it's advisable to do an hour reading before you jump into it. If you like that, do about an hour reading backstory.
Yeah, and they recommend that because again, you'll be lost, and I have no time to read. I have so many other games to play, so I think I'm gonna refund the game. Kind of a bummer. But I think I'm going to refund it. But yeah, so again, playing a lot of Stadia this week. Resident Evil 7 2, great port. We'll talk more about that as well. All right, so let's get into this. Again, just want to do something different. We're going to get right into Outriders. And this segment, again, you guys, panel members can hop in. But I want to target Jerry, Chief, and Gamer TV because, again, they're the people who put the work into doing all this testing and comparison. And I want to know where do y'all stand with this game? What platform would you say runs it the best? And also, which would you recommend for people to pick out? Again, we cover a lot of platforms here. People want to know, should I get this in xCloud, Stadia, GeForce Now, or just stick to my local rig, Xbox 360, PC. So just going to open that up to you guys. Again, Mark, like I said, you've played a lot of this game, so feel free to hop on too. But to get started, let's start with Gamer TV, man. Where do you stand with this game? And just what have you figured out and seen based on what you've been testing out?
Yeah, I think the game overall is a really great game. You can see the effort and the work the devs put in. It's a lot of fun. It's marred right now by a lot of networking issues. I wouldn't say the game itself is at the root of the problem. It is poorly optimized across most platforms, and I do believe console is the best place to experience it. So if you have a next gen console or whatnot, and I can only speak for next gen consoles, I'd say go there. Even my PC, I'm having issues on PC, which surprised the heck out of me. And I've even lowered all of the graphic settings just to test it out and see what's going on PC. And we're still jumping and judders and stutters, frame drops all over the place. So that leads me to this next point regarding the networking issues. And Jerry, you touched on that. But as we see the Square Enix get it together regarding the servers and whatnot, we'll start to see better performance across the platforms. We'll begin to see the stuttering and the weird packet loss that for us in the cloud when we're playing on Stadia, it's even worse, right? Because we have about 1, 2, maybe 4 different round trips before the stream is broadcasted back to us, streamed back to us. So, it's the issues are a little more pronounced when you're dealing with a purely cloud platform in this game. Whereas console, you only have about two hops, or maybe two, maybe 3 hops coming from Square, then back to the source, and then you're running it locally. So you aren't really hitting a ton of network juddering and stutters in the gameplay. You aren't hitting these weird packet losses resulting in frame drops and whatnot due to network issues. But on Stadia, it's horrible. You're hitting everything in the kitchen. It's being thrown at you here in this game, and now we're blaming the game, but that isn't 100% the case, which is why I held back on my comparison, only because I want them to settle the server issues first, and then I'll be able to give it a nice fair look across Stadia and the other cloud platforms, because right now we just don't know how much of it really is the network versus the actual game. Now, if we go into direct issues, for me, I think in this order, you go console, then you go over to PC, and then you deal with the cloud platforms in terms of best places to play. I will always go local first in a situation where the game is poorly optimized, because by the time it gets to cloud, it's going to be even worse than local. So, and that's just common sense there. But on the Stadia side, I am a little disappointed with the overall checks and balances and the resolutions, and the this is a game that could have easily been 4K 60, and I'm a little baffled by the lack of communication between successful Stadia ports such as Division 2, Destiny 2. Why aren't they having these conversations? Why aren't they talking with each other? Hey guys, I'm having a hard time running this game at 4K 60. Can you help us out? What did you do? How are you doing? You have experience with the platform, but for some reason things are being done in a silo, and Stadia's platform just feels like the Google Play Store. Like, okay, hey, just throw your games up here, and if they're optimized, great. If not, so be it. But yeah, those are my general thoughts on Outriders, man. I'd recommend it locally any way possible. I would not go cloud, but to be fair, as I see the servers rebooting and coming back, I'll see good performance increases. Like in resolution mode, I see 60 frames at times when I'm indoors on Stadia, or even on GeForce Now and whatnot. But the minute I step outside, that frame rate dips to about 40, and then it'll dip below 30 during serious action, and it'll come back up. And then I'm like, okay, well, this feels fine. Then it goes again for long stretches. You walk indoors, okay, now it's 60 again. So there are weird issues here, man, that we can't truly say exactly why and whatnot until these servers are done, until they fix the networking issues. Then we can say, okay, here's where this game is not optimized.
Appreciate the feedback, man, and we'll probably get back to you on this conversation. But let's check in with Jerry. What was your take on testing this game out?
Yeah, absolutely echoing everything the Gamer TV is saying. It's local, unlike when Cyberpunk came out and like Stadia and GeForce Now were the place to go. It's the opposite, the complete opposite. This time, local is the way to go. For me, the PS5 and the Series X, the game is gorgeous. And I think Chief was saying to me the other day too, like, honestly, Outriders on Series X, it looks good and it plays really good. And talk about a lock 60. The next gen consoles are not having the frame time issues and the frame rate issues that PC, cloud, Stadia, and all those are having. The network issues and the server stability affects everyone, console and cloud and everything, but it's affecting them less. And my biggest issue is some people are able to get on the game more than other people, depending on our location, server loads, that type of thing. For me here in the USA on the East Coast, I spent 3 hours today straight trying to get in and never got logged in one time. And that's why I was joking in the beginning saying I could have made so many videos since Thursday, but I have spent probably a couple of dozen hours trying to get into this game because I've been so desperate to test it everywhere, a lot like I did the demo, and I just haven't been able to. Right before we came on the podcast, I got in. And I literally just turned it off and was like, well, here, whatever, and I got on here. So that has been frustrating, but it's not all in the game. There is a lot of networking issues. Like Gamer TV said, that's going to all get better. I'm used to AAA games releasing and not being, they had no idea that 250,000 people were going to log on, or however many. It's like they act like they had no idea. They always crash. It never works. I don't get it, but they seem to never be ready. The optimization issues on PC will get straightened out soon. It's a lot of CPU issues, frame time spikes, overheating my CPU, different things like that. A lot of people are having different issues with the game. PC is usually the place I can go to play a game when it has trouble everywhere else. And PC players can adjust a lot of things. We can do some overclocks, or we could change out something, or we could change some settings. There's a lot we can do to make a game work when it doesn't work well. But like Gamer TV was saying, I can try a lot of things and nothing's working. Even lowering the settings all the way down, which I should be able to run higher ultra. So for a lot of people having trouble too, try DirectX 11. I was able to get Outriders running pretty smooth for a little while on my RTX 2060 with DirectX 11. DirectX 12 still just janky all over the place. Was pretty unplayable. You're aiming at someone's head and then it's like aiming at a wall at the next second, and it's crazy. So and Stadia, I played all the frame rates there, like Gamer said. Sometimes it feels 60 and you're like, there's the Stadia I'm used to on Destiny or Division. Like for that split second, you feel it, like, wait, the potential is there, and then it's gone again, and the screen is jumping and it's dipping and coming back up, and a horrible experience there as well. So definitely local, next gen consoles, then PC if you have to, then cloud, same thing.
Okay, Chief, what's your take on everything that you've tested out with Outriders? Be nice, dude.
Well, it's quite interesting that Jerry had issues with DirectX 12 there, because I'm afraid the 3080 doesn't have any issues in that department. But Series X really surprised me, and it's almost as if it coming to Game Pass, they put some serious effort into the Xbox version working, but they forgot about xCloud, because it also dropped on xCloud, and it's probably one of the worst running games I've seen on xCloud to date. Now, I did manage to get a video together, just about, but nobody has managed to get it to run the same since, including me. So those server issues are possibly more than just server issues. There's definitely something wrong with the xCloud version. It runs absolute rubbish now, stuttering all over the place. You think Stadia is bad, try it on xCloud. As I said, yeah, especially after the demo patches. Now, this is where things get a bit weird for me. The demo of Outriders was problematic in quite a few areas. They made huge strides throughout the demo, and the launch day version of Outriders on console and PC is just miles better than the demo version. So that it straight off the bat was like fantastic. Let's go to Stadia version 1. What? How can they learn these lessons over the past 3 weeks? Patching all these versions on console and PC, and just leave Stadia at that base version that everybody moaned about and that they've been patching for the last 3 weeks. It just doesn't make sense unless they didn't care. And that's what it feels like, is that they didn't care about Stadia. They put all their effort into Series X, obviously, because it's on Game Pass. Millions of people are going to be jumping on that game because it's right there. The Steam, obviously, next best. That got the attention. So they put all their effort into console and PC, and Stadia got left to dust. And everybody echoes it. You run it on Stadia, it looks and plays like a demo that they didn't bother to update the code. And it's really sad to see. And I'd like to address a comment from Casewar. I saw you comment on the video as well. You know, should we wait for them all to be on the same version before we compare them? We can't. We don't know when people are going to update each version. We don't know. And we've already seen that the PC version number is different to the console and on Xbox and PlayStation. So they're never going to be the same version unless the devs version it the same across the board, which they haven't. So Stadia is on version 1 for Stadia. Series X is on version 103 for Xbox. PC is on 101. So They've all got their own versionings for each different platform. What we try to do is be fair. This is a launch day release. We've looked at all the versions across all the platforms on release day. That's the stake in the ground. Now we can wait for the patches like we did with Cyberpunk and say, now the big patches have come out, let's go and have another look, and we can see what improvements have been made. But as far as that launch day goes, why would we wait for all the different platforms to get a patch after day one? Most of them have a day one patch. Now, fortunately for Outriders, most of the day one patching was done prior to release. So when it actually released, it was already the patched version, which was quite good. I think there was a very small patch, kind of day one for the platforms. But this is where buying the Steam version for me was just such good value, because I can play it on PC, I can play it on GeForce Now, I can play it on Boosteroid, I can play it on Firepower Cloud, maximum settings, all these different virtual systems I can now go and play at. I've then got to go and buy it separately for Stadia. So this is where Stadia's locked ecosystem can shoot itself in the foot sometimes, especially when reports come out like that. Stream Connect is not going to save Stadia. And I know so many people, and we've seen content creators streaming that day one, cancel their streams and go and refund the game because it's just not up to par. For me, it's a major disappointment for Stadia. We were expecting, especially after seeing the demo on Series X, Stadia should be able to do this. There's no ray tracing, it's running really well. We should at least get 144060. Even if it's the 1440 or 1800 upscaled, it should handle it. So to see 1080-60 struggle, and performance mode does struggle. So even at that 1080-60, you run into the first firefight, you see those frames hit the floor, you see glitching, you see pop-in. It's just a horrible experience. And to me, they should have delayed that release. They should not have released that day one. It's done so much damage to Square Enix and Stadia, in my opinion. They should not have released that version.
I just want to say one quick thing. You said we all predicted that. I didn't predict that. Everybody knows in here what I predicted. It came true, unfortunately. It was I think Jerry said the same as well. I think Jerry, weren't you, Jerry? You were the same as me. We thought it was going to.
I was very concerned.
You did.
Yeah. They didn't release any video. They only released still images leading up. I mean, there were so many red flags with Outriders and Stadia, but I didn't want to believe it was true after Cyberpunk, but unfortunately it was.
So let me bring this up, because Gamer TV said something that's quite interesting, right? You've seen successful ports in Stadia, like you were saying, Jerry, Cyberpunk. You've seen The Division 2 run well. And the Gamer TV was saying, why is it that a game as big as Outriders will struggle while they've found success with porting other games, right? So is it up to Google to just be like, hey, we're going to send our engineers to you to make sure that this becomes the best port? Like, where's the breakdown in communication with like certain games coming running extremely well and then certain games coming and struggling? Who do you think is at fault here? Is it the devs? Is it Google not making enough effort or Stadia not making enough effort? But I think that was a pretty interesting thing you brought up there, Gaming TV. But I'm just going to open this. Anyone?
So I just want to quickly jump in to that point. This isn't the first time Square Enix has done this with Stadia.
That's true.
Marvel Avengers should have given them this red flag and this insight into what to expect. Now they've also added in Stream Connect. So everybody was expecting that to, be an excellent port. When we saw Stream Connect in Division 2 and Breakpoint, they were fantastic port games and a great showcase for the Stream Connect. So that's kind of where they set the bar. So to come in worse than Avengers just seems like they've lost either all faith in the platform or they just don't care because they've got Game Pass. So why care about Stadia?
I think what ties in quite relevantly to this is a statement that I saw from the guys over at Rust, who this week commented on why Rust isn't on Stadia, and they gave pretty much the exact same reasons. They said the engine they built in, which is Unity, so Gamer TV could probably speak to some of the hardships that they face, but they basically said because of the engine that it's in and some of the older features it's missing, like mesh streaming and things like that, it's a big game. It uses a lot of memory, and it was over the limits that Google Stadia sets. And even if they said they chopped it down and optimized the hell out of it and, you know, cut the graphics and everything they could do to it, it still wouldn't run on Stadia. So they left it at, it's an open conversation and it will keep going. We'll keep speaking to them, but we can't get Rust to run on Stadia, which is baffling when you compare it to the likes of like Cyberpunk. How they can get a 4K 60 Cyberpunk but not a Rust just because of the differences in engines is you know, it's interesting. But yeah, like I said, I reckon Gamer TV probably has a bit more insight into that.
Yeah, so in all fairness to Stadia, a platform like Unity and you know Rust, the code base for the game Rust, we don't really know why the truth behind is it Stadia's hardware limitations, is it the code base from the developers? The truth again is somewhere in the middle. It's between the two, because the game runs fine elsewhere, right, on even lesser hardware. So from that perspective, I believe the developers didn't want to invest the time in creating a dumbed down version of the game. They simply wanted to say, hey, we want, if we can't have a one-to-one PC port of this game on Stadia, we aren't even going to spend time on it. It's too much effort. I think that's what it boils down to. Effort versus reward. You know, what's the ROI? It's extremely low on Stadia. So unless Google's forking out serious money for these guys to bring and spend time, they aren't going to want to do it. There's no upside for them. So that's part of this Unity problem. Now, yeah, the code base is old. Stadia is using newer tech and allocating memory in a new way. So you need that designed in your framework, your coding structure. You have to create the, you know, link into the different APIs and whatnot. They just didn't want to do it. You know, they're like, no, we aren't going to spend time on this. It doesn't work. Fine. We're cool. No, we don't have to be here. So we're going to exit stage left. You know, it's as simple as that. There's nothing else to really dig into outside of that. It's just an effort over reward issue for them.
So do you think go ahead, Holtz.
I'm totally blaming Square Enix. I can't believe a company that I've been banging the drum on for months by going, yes, they're one of the developers that have been pushing cloud gaming. They've been saying it all the time, we're going to supply cloud gaming. And they haven't brought the biggest titles to GeForce now. They're bringing broken games to the likes of xCloud and Stadia. And it makes me lose hope. They even brought Marvel Avengers to a Infinite tier on Shadow, and it didn't even run. So when I'm starting to see all these factors come into play, I'm actually so blaming Square Enix. And like I said at the start of the podcast, I was like, there's so much power in GeForce Now cards and what people have got now. Why didn't they implement ray tracing? I can't believe that the recommended settings were the 1060 and they could have easily optimized it for better cards and introduced a feature that would push cloud forward, especially on the GeForce Now platform.
I think it just comes down to what Marchief was talking in his introduction to it. It is prioritizing. They are going to prioritize where the user base is. And I think generally it's accepted that Stadia's user base isn't where it should be. So
if the user base is on like PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 and stuff like that, why did you use the terminology, we are promoting cloud going forward? I thought Square Enix was all in myself.
They're big in the games, but this is the carrot and the stick and all this sort of carry on. People want the AAA games onto Stadia day one. I think all of us want that. But in order to do that, they have to pay the money to compensate them. So yes, they have brought the game over, but I don't think they're compensating them enough to put in the time and the effort. And the worst things I can ever see in chats and on Twitter is the quote lazy devs. It's not lazy devs. It is devs allocating the amount of time what they are given, because it is a business, and I think people forget about this. This isn't just we're going to chuck these games out for everybody to enjoy. They have to make money, and it isn't. They don't have enough. They're not going to make enough money doing all the work on Stadia, so they have to prioritize other places first to make it better.
It's exactly the same like we talk about compensating. What about I mentioned Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest? They're not on GeForce Now. So does GeForce Now have to compensate Square Enix to actually bring them games with their partnership storefronts to this service? Because it looks like these developers now are holding back until you drop the cash.
It's a business. I think that's maybe that's what it could be. Nvidia may have to stump up the cash to bring some of these games across. To go, here you go, here's some money. You green light this. Again, I think I want games absolutely everywhere, but I think when we get onto the NBA stuff, or NBA or Major League Baseball stuff later, I think we're just going to go. It's going to be more business, and I think sometimes you just need to take a step back and just look at the bigger sort of picture. Speaking of, sorry. I was going to say, I was going to bring in a slightly different point here. Do you think some of this issues which they're having with the servers is down to the business move that Microsoft did by bringing it to Gamepass? I thought the same point.
To say the same thing, yeah.
Yes.
Casewell said it in the comments as well, and actually, it's a very good point. How late in the game did Microsoft drop this as a Game Pass edition? Because suddenly, that's how many million people suddenly have access to the game that wouldn't have had access to the game previously. So we're seeing them in the top 10 of the Steam list. It'd be interesting to see the concurrent Xbox One, Xbox Series X player list, because suddenly people that were umming and ahhing about the game have got it on Game Pass. So everybody's just hopped on to even have a look. So that game load is going to have gone through the roof.
It's interesting that you say that, because all three of you said that the Series X is the best place to play this game, even over PC, right? So I'm wondering, like, how much of a detour did that, however Microsoft decided to pay them, went into effect with them, focusing to get it running the best in xCloud compared to all the other platforms, right? Which sucks. Money speaks, but it sucks, because again, Stadia, I mean, still on 1.0, and everyone else seems to be struggling with this game. And I think Holtz is right when he says blame the devs. I think it is the devs' fault here. But anyway, wow, we've spent almost an hour talking about Outriders. Does anyone else have anything else to add to this?
Well, I'll just chime in just really quickly and say, yeah, I mean, we can blame the devs for sure, but we also have to blame Stadia and that team, that engineering team. I mean, there should be checks and balances in place, minimum specs. If the game doesn't hold up, we aren't launching it. We aren't going to allow you to roll this out to our consumers, because it does nothing but sully Stadia. So that's the bigger issue here. I mean, if the game is running fine on xCloud or Series X or whatnot, and it runs like crap on Stadia, then that's a bad look for Stadia. I mean, Square Enix can say, hey, the game runs fine over here. It's your platform. They can always do that. But Stadia has to put the balances and then the checks in place to make sure their behinds are covered, basically.
So
we see that from GeForce Now.
And quality control,
why we don't
too.
see certain games. There's a game that Hellmonkey has been waiting to play for the last week and a half, but because it's got issues, they're not releasing it. So, and this is what I said to Stadia in my review of Stadia. Why was this version released? It's an embarrassment compared to every other game.
Especially when we should have learned off CG Projekt Red and the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One that actually, quality checking Cyberpunk. They should have learned now to actually test these games going forward.
Yeah, you can't buy it on the PlayStation Store for that reason. It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
they did sell it first, so it did pass
First.
quality. And
But then
they
those refund requests started rolling in,
Mm-hmm.
and they pulled it really quickly. So yeah, the quality check's got to be there.
Do you think this has maybe been rushed out? Because if you remember back a month or so ago, Outriders was not then day and date. It was sometime after, and I was absolutely fine by that. You can go back. I have said this multiple times. I was fine with Outriders being a bit later as long as it was announced. Do you think they've tried to push some money there to speed it up, and it's sort of backfired?
Yeah, it shouldn't backfire though, because the guys and gals over at Google Stadia should be making the checks. They should be checking these before they go. Like, who at Google accepted that they were to get version 1? Like, who okayed that? That's just absolutely ridiculous, by the way. Absolutely ridiculous. And I see a couple of people in the chat there saying, can you imagine if it wasn't released? Well, yeah, because although I've been waiting for a game in GFN and it hasn't released, it's not been released because it's not ready. It's not optimized to be able to have a good experience on it. So if you can't play the game, don't release it where it's unplayable. Release it when it is playable. You know, I don't mind waiting a couple of days, a week or 2 weeks, but releasing version 1, come on, somebody at Google has to get their ass in gear, man. Just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you guys have heard it all here, and that is why I wanted to have this discussion between the panel, and I think this is good. Again, I love this panel because people don't hold things back. We're not going to sugarcoat things. This is the reality of Outriders' situation with all the platforms. But let's move over to the rest of the cloud gaming news for this week, man. We're gonna try to do a rapid fire thing here because we don't have a lot of time left. All right. So Amazon Luna, 3 games were announced: Ghost Runner, Narita Boy, and Call of Sea. Does these game selection interest you? And this is quite interesting because I believe this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that they've announced games that are coming, right? Normally they just say, hey, these games are available. But now we have like some dates for games coming in the future. Do we see this as something that is going to be a thing going on where they say, hey, we're getting this game December, or summer, like giving a date to those games? And just how do you guys feel about these games, and how do you guys feel about the giving us like dates of future games coming to Luna? So anyone can hop on, and then we'll move to G first now.
I can jump on first just to confirm. Yes, that is the first time they've done it. It's the first time they've given it out in advance, and I think it's great news that they're doing it. Regarding their game selection, I am saying this all the time. I think they're just being really, really clever with their game selection. They're always picking up interesting titles you may have missed, cult titles, and the 3 games which they've announced, 3 cracking titles which may have been overlooked, and I think they're building up in a real interesting way, and it will have gamers interested if and when it comes over. And I'll say from we're still waiting, we want it over here, we're getting frustrated.
Well, the game that I really want to look forward to was when I seen Call of Sea. I was like, oh my god, that's a game that I would play. I'm not really heavy into puzzles, but because it was heavy story narrative, like something that I would play in like Oxenfree or Firewatch, I thought, if I really want to play it, the art style, the music, it looks like something you'll see in the 30s movie or a postcard. And I thought, I'm really intrigued on that. But, of course, it's not over here in Europe. So I looked somewhere else, and it's on xCloud. So I was like, thanks, Luna, for giving me the idea to play the game. But because you've not brought it over, I'm going to play it somewhere else.
So like xCloud. It's good to know.
I like that everyone's filling in for my usual Luna frustration. In terms of the game announcement, I would like to think that they are keeping an eye on how other platforms do it and have taken notes on the good thing, the good stuff we say about the GeForce Now monthly announcements. They used to do every Thursdays. They still do Thursdays, but they give us more of a monthly roadmap, and everyone has pretty much said that they prefer that format. So fingers crossed, that they're paying attention to what gamers are actually saying that they like and following that model. And it's not just a fluke. And in terms of the game selection, again, as Duncan said, it's very clever. It's a good plug for, you know, for building up that Luna Plus library for a little bit of everything in different genres. Obviously, it may go for some people. For me, especially, there's one that stands out among the three, which is Ghost Runner, which is really interesting in terms of, it's obviously not something I can test, but in terms of performance, because this was the one that was like, it's fast paced. This is supposed to be a high FPS game because it's so much happening on the screen at once, and I'm pretty sure it's a ray tracing one as well. Yeah. So I'm wondering how the port onto Luna performs, and if it hits what it's supposed to on a PC, for example.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't test it.
Right. So it's Control. It's a game with RTX that's on Luna, but it's missing the RTX. I wonder if they're gonna bring that over with Ghost. Yeah, Ghost Run is a very difficult game if you guys haven't played it yet. But again, I think it's a good game to test, you know, Luna's latency, right? Because again, precision is key.
Yeah,
with this one.
I've messed with it a little bit. There's no RTX for Ghost Runner. There aren't in any of the Luna Plus channel games. It also doesn't run like the PC version. It's more like their Luna Plus channel port, kind of like Stadia gets a port in. So there aren't really any graphics options or selections you can make. It's pretty much is what it is. But it seems to be performing pretty well, and it seems like they're shooting for a 60 when it's running well. So, but I have to do a little bit more. I'm making a video on Ghost Runner for Luna now.
Yeah, a 60 is definitely needed for this game. So hopefully they get that all figured out. Cool. Anyone else want to add to these Luna games?
Yeah, Ghost Runners, it's, I've tested it out, a little bit, and it is 60. They're targeting 60. It dips here and there, nothing major. But as Jerry said, the Luna Plus channels, and this is something I don't believe a lot of people really pay much attention to this, but Luna is sort of the child between GeForce Now and Stadia.
Yeah.
Right? So if they got together and had a baby, it'd be Luna.
Yeah.
You're capable of, a full API. As we see with the Luna Plus channels, those ports are totally different ports than the other ports that are coming in via specific channels, like the Ubisoft Plus channel. That's more of a GFN type of port, where the Luna Plus channel ports are for Luna. That it just like Stadia. So, that's something to watch and really see, because you can't make any adjustments. Graphic settings are all gone. They're all stripped away to make sure they hit the 1080p 60 frames per second high detail. And most Luna Plus channel games are locked at high detail. They aren't scaling the resolutions. They aren't changing the detail settings, none of that. It's all 1080, 60 high detail. Not very high, not ultra, just high. But it gets the job done, and it works really well. So I've had a good time with Ghost Runner so far.
Nice. Good to get your feedback on that for sure. Anyone else on the games coming to Luna?
I find it interesting that they're coming. Two out of the three are on Gamepass or xCloud, and Ghost Runner is obviously on GeForce Now with RTX. So it's interesting to see a lot of the same games coming across all of these platforms. So it means that these devs are obviously willing to put their games out, which is good to see for games coming in future.
Yeah.
But again, it's missing one key platform, right?
Oh gosh.
I wouldn't want to go down rabbit holes. No rabbit holes by the exclusives either. No.
But yeah, guys. All right, we'll get to that platform here. But no, it's interesting, and for devs, I think this is great, right? So normally you're you normally have your normal traditional console, your PS4 or PS5, if you want to call it now, Xbox Series, and then whatever Nintendo pushes out. So with these cloud platforms coming into play, it offers devs more platforms to bring the games to. And hopefully, right, when these platform takes out, if Google Stadia can hit the 1 billion users, right, these are potential billion people who these devs can now reach with the game. So I think it's pretty cool to have cloud, right, with consoles, because this way they have more eyes, right? Especially like if they do hit the billion numbers that Microsoft and Google and Amazon are hoping to hit with cloud gaming. So overall, I think this is a good thing. But anyone else before we move over to GFS Now? All right. So Jerry, I'm gonna kind of let you lead this GFS Now news. Putting you on blast, by the way. But I think you've done the GFS Now news for the week, so you should be up to date. So let us know, man. GFS Now news, go for it.
No idea. No, I'm doing freaking GeForce Now news forever. It's like, I feel like it's all I do. It's almost the only news left on the channel, actually. I tell everybody to go check out CGX or Duncan or whoever, because it's just, I barely have enough time to keep up with the game. So I'm trying to lean on you guys for the news, actually. But yeah, it's another month of getting a lineup of games that they're probably going to blow past. I'm not super impressed by the game list. Outriders is, of course, the biggest launch, but with all the issues we already talked about, that's been kind of marred. And don't sleep on Narita Boy. I don't care if it's Luna or GeForce Now or playing it on Gamepass, especially if you grew up and you're old like me and you love the original Tron and that atmosphere. The gameplay might not be spot on, but you could just turn on that game and listen to it and be happy. So don't sleep. I see Duncan shaking his head. Yes, we were talking about this game in Discord too. So don't sleep on that game. But they're also working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we got to see come to fruition as well. I think Fortnite was one of the first games to get that quick launch feature. So now you're in that game in like less than a minute, 30 seconds. It used to take quite a bit of time. So there's things not on the, so there's things not on the roadmap of games that they're doing in the background that I think we're going to start to see come out, which will be great. We want to see the quick launching, less issues with the tie-in. I saw the Epic connection. You can now connect your Epic account, and I think that's just for Fortnite right now. It doesn't automatically connect any of your other Epic library yet, but it does work for Fortnite and gives you that quick launch. But I'm not going to obviously go down through the whole list of games. You can probably pull those up. But to me, they're getting a load of the Stronghold. A lot of the Steam. Now, somebody mentioned, I've been wondering this too. I've been seeing less and less Epic games and just a ton of Steam the past few weeks. And I just don't know if that's a coincidence. I don't know if there's something with Epic not supporting as hardcore as they had planned. But it seems like we're getting flooded with Steam, and we're not getting as much Epic support. And I'm not quite sure if there's any reasoning behind that at all, but I have been noticing that
that's going to be to do with their speed track or fast track onboarding that they were talking about.
Correct.
Right, Steam was already targeted as a quick win for people to be able to bring their games across. So I think they've made that even easier. And that's all they're pushing. And I can see Holt shaking his head because he wants the Epic games. All I want to say is, what pace that they're picking up as. I know there are not a lot of games that people want to play, but we've been looking at 12 plus games a week for the last month or more now. We talk about content is king. Well, they're certainly giving it a good go.
They are, and they're saying they really want to target about 15 games a week all year. That was one of the last, and I'm like, wow, that's 10 to 15 is that's pretty bold. And like you said, they might not always be games everybody wants, but we're getting a ton of them.
Yeah, they did say last month was, I think it was 35 titles. So they said it's more than a game a day that they added to GeForce Now.
I think they targeted 30, but they brought closer to 50.
Yeah, they did.
I think it's one thing what we've been actually screaming about over the last couple of weeks now. If you go what was released on on Thursday, we got our first Epic free game returned this week as well. So I think that is worth mentioning. I forget the name of the game, but see, I've got a memory like a goldfish, so so I think that is great to see. And the games which are coming, when we were doing our rundown, the game that I found, I had to click on it to see what it looked like. It's not Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I want to play that game. Because it actually looks pretty cool.
Wait, which one?
Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion.
Why am I not seeing that?
It's up
Oh,
and
yeah,
out.
it's there.
It's in the highlighted games. Yeah.
Oh,
There
You
you
know what,
go.
Duncan?
It's
It's those weird games that wind up being like top on Steam and
Yeah.
bring players to GeForce Now that people are like, why are they getting these stupid games? Well, we don't play them, but it's bringing like thousands of people.
Are you serious right now, guys? This game?
We're serious.
Yes,
Tax evasion, Turnip Boy.
yes, it is completely nuts. I was just going, what am I watching here?
What did you do?
Time for tax season.
what is going on with
Oh
this
my
game?
goodness, guys.
Imagine if you were watching Among Us going, what the hell? This is rubbish.
Oh my goodness. No. No.
He is definitely committing tax evasion.
He is.
What in the world?
Almost
am
as
I
bad as
watching?
PUBG.
Yeah, this is not good, man. But again,
I've got a complete weird taste in games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this
we just learned something new about Duncan.
but these are the sort of games that draw in, loads of unsuspecting gamers because they're just so out there that people jump in and try them. And as someone just said, they bring a lot of traffic into GeForce Now because of it. These types of games. So, it may not be a cup of tea, Ace, but it has its audience.
Like Dyson's Sphere program, we all thought was for.
Exactly.
Thank you. I was looking for you, Holds. What?
Well, of course, I've not been happy for
got
8
mad?
weeks with GeForce. I feel like I'm just starting to develop a huge problem with it because my grind with like this, and Chief said like it was epic, but it's not. It's also Steam as well. I've named of like 10 games over 2 slow months that have been in the Steam top 10 lists, and it's never came to GeForce Now. And I've always joked around saying it's my games and blah 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 blah. But I seen this list and I was scratching my head, going, okay. Where's Oddworld Soul Survivor? I'm pretty sure that game would actually sell well on Steam, but it hasn't been promoted. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the genres I don't play, strategy, RTS, and simulators and stuff like that. But I was like, where's Humankind? How come that's not being promoted in the monthly? And then I went, okay, where's one of the biggest Steam games going? Where is Total War Rome Remastered? And I'm like, I'm naming games, but people seem to just shrug it off and go, no, we're not bringing that to GeForce Now. So once again, once I seen this list, I just went, oh my God, this platform's killing me. It really is.
Maybe if you do the opposite and say you don't want those games.
I was saying this to Chase a few weeks ago. I was trying to say, I'm seeing request forms for these games. I'm not the only gamer that's actually clicked a request form. Yeah. So I'm thinking, what's the problem? Is it the developers? Is it the storefront? Or I don't know who's to blame here. I really want to jump into these platforms with these games that I've mentioned in the past and the 3 I've just mentioned there, but they're not coming to fruition. And I'll end this podcast by what I'm saying now by saying, oh, maybe they'll bring it on the release date. Then when the release date podcast comes, I'll be saying, oh, where was it? I'm just
shit. Holtz is ending the podcast.
I'm not ending the podcast on this point. I'm trying to say.
I mean. But I'm wondering if Gamer TV or anybody else on here could mention it, because I've mentioned this before. Do you think the reason why a lot of these games simply don't come is because developers just don't have the faith in cloud yet or the experience in cloud yet? Is that like a big reason why they don't come yet?
I think it could be that, Jerry, but I also think, as we've spoken about previously, maybe NVIDIA isn't stumping up the cash.
Absolutely.
It's one of the two, or a mix of both.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely right, man. It's a combination of both.
But look, the Steam sales. I'm pretty sure Total War is a big get for GeForce Now, and it's got a big, huge user base. So you would think that game would definitely come to a cloud platform at GeForce Now.
And also Kingdom Hearts, I know is epic, but that was a game that released as well.
But you see, a lot of people are sitting there saying about Kingdom Hearts, it's more console related. So I thought maybe the games that I'm playing is more console related. So when I actually seen Total War, I thought, well, there's games that are specifically PC heavy.
And they got that other strategy, Mountain Blade too, right? So if they got that, you would think they would get a game like Total War, I would assume, right? I don't know, but we're gonna compare. Right? This is Google Stadia. First of all, first time they ever got 10 games in a week. So kudos. And again, we'll get to Stadia more. But you have Resident Evil 7, SpongeBob, Ys 8, Pikanuku. By the way, that game, don't Put that on for your kids, man. They'll take over the TV. Killer Queen Black, Trine 4, Disco Elysium, Nanotel? I even know this was a freaking game. Outriders, Cosmic Star, Kinmo Heroes, Legend of Heroes, Trials of... These are the games that released for Stadia. Now, this is what I'm talking about, guys, right? This eats what GeForce Now brought this week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Could we agree to that?
Yeah.
I don't think...
Can we
get a 2 week on a roll? Come on, guys. Say
2
yes.
weeks.
No,
I'm going to say now, guys.
I'm going to say Stadia has had the better week, but I don't think it is as... If we're doing a compare and contrast, I don't think it is as big as you think it is, because if you go through a number of these games, have also been announced for GeForce Now this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't, try and say, it's bigger than it is or that, but just personally, for me, there's more games came to Stadia that interest me than what's on GeForce Now.
Yes, but what the point I'm making, I think Stadia has had the better week, but I don't think it's an absolute knockout sort of blow, because you've got Outriders is on GFN, you've got one of the JRPGs is now being announced coming to GFN as well, and there is a lot of crossover, as we know, with all these different. Trine as well is coming to GFN.
Yeah, but we got 4 free pro games.
Yeah, pro games
and Elder Scrolls and Hitman 3 going free.
And I am saying Stadia has had a great week. I am not saying Stadia hasn't had a bad week. I have said there's some multiple places that Stadia has had a great week, but I don't think it's as, oh my God, when you're comparing it to GFN. I don't think they still beat GFN for this week, but I don't think it's a knockout blow.
Okay, so what is this though? Week 3 of Stadia being GeForce Now, right? Game selection, week 3.
Well, I've been saying it for weeks, but yeah, I think we've come to a census the last 3 weeks-ish.
Yeah.
It's been a very, very strong platform.
So, can we roast GeForce Now a little bit here, guys? They said if you add it up, I would say this is 6 weeks for me where they've had a terrible... It's like after Valheim released, and I believe that's when the indies started, they just have weeks is what I like to call them. So can we roast them a little bit here, guys? Right?
This is 3 weeks. Be careful, because
Why?
You're saying that this is a great week for Stadia. It is a great week, but pretty much all of those games are already on GeForce Now. It's not that they haven't come; so they were already there.
But
we just didn't know about
we're
them.
getting some for free though. GeForce Now.
So yeah, use 8 getting for free is a great deal.
Sure.
Right?
Resident
I can't
Evil,
wait to play that
Capcom
game. Resident Evil.
And then you have to realize,
but they're not free. You've been paying £10 a month for this.
Yeah, but on the price as well. I put this on Twitter. Like if you look at Legend of Heroes Cold Steel 3, I know it's up to the publishers, but it was cheaper this week on Stadia than the likes of Steam and the likes of if you look at Disco Elysium, it did have a good price reduce, and Humankind's got a great pre-order bonus. So they're all wins. But yeah, I understand what Duncan was saying. That all these games are also on GeForce Now. Great for people who've already got the expanded library, but from a new customer's point of view going forward,
now I will be playing them on Stadia because they're free. So, like I play games on Gamepass because they're free, rather than buying them on GeForce Now. And
free with subscription, isn't it?
Free with subscription.
Free with subscription, but if we talk about GeForce Now subscription, you get nothing for subscription. Nothing
apart from all the free-to-play games.
Yeah. But that's the storefront and publishers giving us a GeForce Now free. It's not GeForce Now giving it to you for free, is it?
But it'd be nice if we could see those come to other platforms like Stadia. We've got Destiny 2 free-to-play. We've got Super Bomberman.
But like I said, it's all down to publishers' discretion, isn't it, really?
So it'd be good for them to grow that base, is what I'm saying, especially as you are paying that subscription. So those pro games, like the GeForce Now library, I won't play 90% of those, even if they were part of the subscription.
Either one this week, honestly. I think depending on the eyes of the beholder, GeForce Now is rocking along strongly too. It like some of the games are already there. Looking at the game list just in front of me here, I'm like, okay, maybe they're not a lot of games for me, but the amount they're still bringing, the work they're doing to the platform as a whole, I think both Stadia and GeForce Now are having a strong week. And I said in my Stadia video, this is the strongest Stadia week all year for me. For what they've brought with the pro games, the free Hitman starter pack to jump in, try the Dubai mission, stuff like that. You've got free ESO. I was actually surprised. I saw that blog from Stadia and I was like, I'm actually going to make a positive Stadia video. This is awesome. I was actually really excited for it. And I also thought that GeForce Now was doing a good job. So the only issue I had with them, of course, was the outage, but we already talked about that before. It happens to everybody, so I don't take that as a big deal if it doesn't happen very often. And the Death Stranding issues with their maintenance for 3 weeks is ticking a lot of people off. But you know, everybody's got their little issues, but I think both platforms are pushing ahead pretty strongly right now.
I'm not saying that GeForce Now is not pushing strongly, but I think we need to. So, Jerry, I just heard you say, right? The games is good games, but it's not your cup of tea. That's what we've been hearing this panel, right? 12 games, but then who?
But well, neither is the Stadia games for me.
Well,
who
I'm quite
are these games for then?
Scary.
Well, I'm quite shocked. I'm quite shocked because when Resident Evil 7 came to Luna, I was saying, "Oh, it's an old game. It's an old game. I wish Resident Evil 2 and 3 came to the platform." But since Resident Evil 7's came to Stadia as a pro game and it came to Luna, I've just seen this big surge of people playing this game, and they're like, "It's the first time playing it," and I'm like, "Wow, these cloud platforms are actually getting people enticed into that service and the games."
Yeah, I'm just going to put this out here. My thing, I think Stadia has had another good or great week, and that they are, as I'm getting roasted in the chat, they have been consistent, and I think we've all been saying over the last couple of weeks they have been doing well, and my thing is I just don't think it's a big knockout blow towards GFN. That was just the point I was making, because there is just so much crossover between the two platforms. What we were talking before, it's like praising, it's like maybe saying, "Oh, well done, Stadia, you've caught up to GFN getting all these games in one week," and then GFN have just dropped another. What was that? Another 13, and then they're dropping another 21 over the next month. It's like Stadia is always on catch up, and when they have these big spurts of catch up, which is absolutely brilliant to see.
Guys, you guys preach about quality over quantity. I mean, here's the thing. Don't get Jerry. What do you mean it's not quality?
To them, it's quantity over quality.
Yeah, that's what you guys say now, right?
It's a quality bunch of games, but those games already exist on that platform, so it's not quality over quantity. It's they needed that quantity and quality to catch up.
It's so when are we gonna start, like, really? Are we gonna wait for week 8, week 10, right? I mean, this is what, week 6 now.
Why do we need to roast either of them? If they both put out a lot of games, they both put out a lot of games. So if Stadia can keep up this pace,
oh my goodness,
fantastic.
They
committed to 100
games. No one is playing these games that they're putting out. I ask you guys, are you guys excited? Said no.
Just because we're not, none of us are playing Valheim right now. It's third in the Steam list.
But who's excited then? Who are these games for? Again, you guys complain about, like, quantity over quality, and here they're dropping all these games that no one's gonna play, and y'all are not giving them flag for it. It's crazy, right?
You're not gonna play any of them on Stadia either, so why praise
I'm gonna
Stadia?
play Resident Evil. I'm gonna play Ys 8. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna play Pikanuku. Right? I'm gonna play SpongeBob Square. SpongeBob is such a great game, guys.
From my youngest point of view, on my niece now, I've got a nephew who's playing FIFA. My niece is playing Pikanuku and SpongeBob and literally loving it as well. So once again, from a younger point of view, they're literally, and they've got their own devices and they're loving it since I give them the controller.
Oh, you should have a try Resident Evil.
Oh, I mean, I love Resident Evil. I love the way that, like, a lot of people think they're going to meet a lovely family, you know, Jack, Zoe, Lucas, and all this. And then when they turn up and see this dysfunctional family, like, I don't want to play the game anymore. Stop it. But I love it, and I'm like, welcome to Resident Evil, a game that I want. Oh, it's so good.
The game is good.
Watching Ace play that was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't. It's crazy.
But I think we have to admit the only one, John, that we all hate is Hodders. We're all like that, aren't we?
Scary stuff. But yeah.
I was
You
going
gotta
to say,
remember, like, my perspective too is I don't really look at all of this cloud as like what I'm gonna play. I'm looking at it more from like what's everybody out there in the world of consumer gonna get into, what might be interesting to people in cloud, because I'm still a local hardware gamer guy. I'm gaming on PC and consoles all the time, and cloud is a great addition to my channel because it's exciting. I think it has a huge future, but it's not my main way to game. So every week you'll hear me say, well, I'm not gonna play any of these games on Stadia, or because I'm not probably gonna play any of them there, but I'm gonna test them there. I'm going to see how they run. We're going to do all that, but then I'm going to go spend my time on local hardware. But my thing is just to be objective about each platform and give everybody as much information about each one as possible, because there's something for everybody, and these are all targeting different consumers altogether.
True.
But
So-
when I go on physical, I think if these games dropped, and I was playing the devil's advocate, but if these games dropped on PlayStation Now this month, we'll all be raving that these are good
See,
titles.
and it's perception or or what platform or consumer. Yes.
All right. So I guess I'm still stuck, guys. Sorry. Because again, I feel like I'm gonna get roasted for this, but I can't stress how many times we've come on here and y'all roast Stadia for having a lot of games, but none that interest people. And I feel like GeForce Now has been really consistent with doing the same thing, and they're not getting roasted. I just don't get that, y'all.
But Stadia didn't bring a lot of games. It got roasted because it wasn't bringing games.
But it
brought
is
Yeah,
now,
I was-
though. It is now, though.
I was going to say my main point for Stadia has always been they haven't got enough games to keep giving games away like this. They'll run out of library.
Yeah.
But these are new games. I mean, you look at Ys, you look at Resident Evil. These are like new games. Yeah, you can say SpongeBob and Picnic.
Well,
are old
remember too,
games,
Stadia sells itself as its replacement for you to play your games in the cloud, to replace your console, replace your PC. That's always how they pushed it, even if that's not how a lot of people use it. GeForce Now never tried to be that. Now they may move towards that in the future. I've heard some people say they do want to get more mainstream in the cloud. But GeForce Now has never come out and said, I'm going to replace your console or PC. They say, I'm going to go along with it. We're not going to have all the games. We're going to have some of them from your library. But so far, they're not trying to push to be a cloud replacement that has every single game that comes out, like Stadia is trying to be.
But the thing here, I from the pro games, I think it was a stellar pro month. In my opinion, I think it was an absolutely brilliant pro month for Stadia. And the game which a lot of people are talking about is Resident Evil 7. That's not the one which is picking up the eyebrows of the wider gaming market. It is Holt's game, which I'm not going to pronounce because I always butcher it. That's the bad boy. That's the one which is actually getting the gamers talking. The other gamers are the other games that are ones which more than likely they know what they are and they're going to what's the word I'm looking for? They've probably already played, and if you've heard of Resident Evil and you've got a console already, you've probably picked it up and played it on Gamepass or maybe somewhere else, or you've just played it on PlayStation 4. It's the say it for me again. The
E8.
E8. That is the one which is going to make the shock waves out there.
But to me, what I actually think was a good move by Stadia was bringing them to Pro. So, Ys 8 and Cold Steel 3 is a great get for Pro because it's going to incentivize people to say, look how it's running on Stadia, ready for you to click buy for Steel 4 and Ys 9.
Cold Steel is not Pro, right?
No, I'm trying to say when you bring these games, I forgot but I'm trying to say the discount, the heavy discount.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, great discount for sure. That's why I picked it up. But again,
and a lot of people did actually say there was a lot of platformers and not enough RPGs, and now they're bringing the wave RPGs. It's like, well, come on, all jump on board. That's if you're an RPG fan.
True. All right, so we need to move to Xbox, but I'm still gonna give GeForce come next week if they come out again with another week, guys. I'm gonna lose my mind, but let's keep going, right? Let's bring xCloud or Game. I think we have a name for it now. Gamepass, Game Xbox. They said it. It's like console streaming, right? Did they officially?
It's been Gamepass,
Xbox Game Pass,
or Game Streaming. Xbox Game Streaming.
Game Streaming.
I've got a couple of different logos that I use, but the main one says Game Streaming.
Game Streaming. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that is what it officially is now, right? So again, MLB, the show, this is coming to Game Pass. I think this is huge. Again, this is I think this is the only official big MLB sports game, and it was exclusive to Sony at some point. And again, Microsoft is now getting this April 20th. I think this is a big move. So just want to talk to the panel. What are your thoughts about this move? And yeah, just going to open it up. Anyone can hop in here.
I personally think it's a great move. It's I'd love to see the semantics behind the contracts and the publishing rights and all of that good stuff. But it's Microsoft pretty much letting us know that they're playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. So that's I'm always for it. It'll drive the competition. I love it.
Good move. Anyone else want to add to that?
I'm kind of torn between, is it this power play from Microsoft, say, look what we can get on our platform, or are we just entering a phase in gaming where cross-platform IPs is a bit more of a norm, since we got kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn on Steam and lots of Sony exclusives leaving, or not leaving Sony, but becoming accessible elsewhere? Is it that's more of a norm now, or is it a power play?
Or is it MLB wanting to be everywhere? It's cross-play, it's cross-progression. So is that Xbox making the move to say, well, we are big in the cross-play, cross-progression sector, so hey, come join us on Game Pass, and people on PC can play with all the Xbox players, and same with PlayStation. We're open, PlayStation. You don't, if you want to stay closed to your ecosystem, you stay closed, but we're open.
Well, this blows my mind, because when I seen it, I was like, wait there, isn't that Sony Interactive Entertainment? And I thought to myself, even though they haven't published it on the Xbox, in my mind, I'm still thinking, wow, you got a PlayStation exclusive and a developer from Sony Interactive Entertainment. So to me, I'm just shaking my head going, isn't it amazing how Game Pass is just bringing the games that people really want?
Yeah.
Except, who here is going to play it? Put your hand up.
But for the basketball fans,
basketball.
Not basketball, baseball.
Oh man,
I was like,
I played baseball for 8 years in school, so I have to do it. I'm so glad it's not a Sony exclusive anymore. Yeah, it's going to be great being on Game Pass.
It's a huge
Major League Basketball, isn't it? MLB? Is it?
No, this is huge. This game is huge. It's as big as, I would say, like Madden and FIFA. I'm just saying, because it's the only
in the States. In the States, especially for MLB, definitely, absolutely.
It sells like crazy for Sony. It used to, but yeah, this is a good move.
The thing is, Sony will still sell just about as many. It's more about MLB expanding their player base and moving on to more platforms. And I think Duncan was saying something earlier. He knows a little bit. He was digging, and it's not even the same publishers. Like, it's a different rights thing going on altogether. I don't think you'll see a little Sony thing when you get it on your Xbox.
It's the baseball people, MLB, are actually publishing the game. For me, this is a 100% power move, and I think we're going to be seeing a hell of a lot more of it. And this is not just what Stadia is up against. This is what PlayStation is up against going forward.
Yeah.
You want there's right. Just look at April. We have got 2 AAA games going into Game Pass in Outriders and MLB. And do you want to pay $70 for MLB, which that's what's going to be in the PlayStation 5? Or do you want to get Game Pass for, what's it, $15 a month in Ultimate? And again, this is how Microsoft are positioning themselves, and this is why the subscription model is going to absolutely take off. And this is going to cause problems for Stadia. It's going to cause problems for PlayStation. Nintendo is a word unto itself, and the one I'm interested in is Luna, because they are basically copying Microsoft with the subscription model, and I think we're going to get day and date releases on Luna as well in the weeks, or sorry, I was probably saying months and years to come as well. And we've seen that with the statement from last week, where they are not only building up their first-party studios, they are out there buying third-party games as well, and they're going to be becoming publishers. This is where we're moving into. So you're going to be looking at Stadia, you're going to be looking at Luna, you're going to be looking at PlayStation, and you're going to be going, do I put my money in X and Y, or do I go and get these? How many games are up to? It's about 100 in the cloud or something on Xbox now, or do you do that? This is why it is so exciting, and I think we're just going to see an absolute nonsense coming out over the next couple of months, and there has been a lot of hints out there that this is only the start.
Yeah, Microsoft actually came. Sorry, Chief. Microsoft actually came out and said, as to where they used to have to go and beg to get these guys onto Game Pass when they were first starting, they now have just so many people coming to them. They have a list. Like, they can't even get through onboarding the amount of games that people want to bring to Game Pass, and the player base is huge there for them. And yeah, Duncan, I think the Luna Plus channel could be Amazon's Game Pass in the next 6 months to a year, something like that, definitely.
So on that value front, Outriders is going to really showcase, the power of putting a game onto Game Pass.
Exactly.
I think MLB will be another one. I'm paying £29 a month, which is probably about $35 for the I forgot what it is, full access or
the all access.
Full access. So I've got my Series X and Game Pass Ultimate for £29 a month, and I've just got 100 quid, 150 quid's worth of games, in a month. So I'm getting 3 times the value of what I'm paying for a next gen console and the subscription service, for that £30 a month. So I think they are showcasing their subscription service, and I don't think, as Duncan said, it's going to stop now. This is going to be a freight train where all these AAA games are going to go, we can guess our sales, or we can just go onto Game Pass.
Yeah. This is great for the consumers, right? Look at all the value that we're getting. And this is waking, I think Duncan was saying this, Sony's, their eyes are open to this, right? Nintendo, Amazon, with what they want Luna to be. Imagine going forward if this is the standard for gaming, right? Sony putting all the games into a subscription, same day release. They're going to have to compete, right? And Amazon taking that approach, and even potentially Stadia, right? This is great for consumers, and I'm excited to see how this all plays out. And Duncan, I believe you're right when you say they are just getting started, because we have another announcement with the backwards compatibility, and that's huge, right? Again, news after news with Microsoft Game Pass and xCloud. They are killing it as of late. So anyone else want to add to this move of MLB come to Game Pass?
I'm just going to add into this here, and we haven't even seen the start of Microsoft's acquisitions to kick into place yet. And when that starts to happen, it is just going to add even more value to that. And that is, again, this is what Microsoft are just trying to take over the whole gaming space and be the number one. And I think it is just brilliant.
My camera is MIA, but I'm still here, guys.
Ace is literally just blown his top.
It's heating up over there.
It's that GeForce Now conversation. That's but keep going.
Are we touching into the backwards compatibility?
Let's get into that. Yeah.
I think there was 2 blog posts of that. The first blog post was just, here's the games. And there was a second post, and I just remember his second name because it's a brilliant second name. It's somewhat Mr. Duncan, we will call him, over at Rare. He announced what their plans are for the backwards compatibility. So that's being able to play Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, and they are going to be taking advantage of the FPS boost, and it looks like it's going to be the speediness of the SSDs as well. So it looks like we're going to see some of these brilliant features which Microsoft are really pushing, and we're going to see them in xCloud as well.
That is awesome. Seriously. Again, the value here is absolutely incredible. Just going to read some of the names out. And realistically speaking, this is good because I'm not, you guys know me, I've said this a lot on this show. If a new game comes out, you're not going to catch me going back playing old games, right? Again, I rather play Doom Eternal over Doom 2016. But what this did is it made me actually go back and play some games. So we have Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, I guess that's the sequel, Double Dragon Neon, Fable, Fallout New Vegas, Gears of War 2, 3, Gears of War Judgment, Jetpack Refueled, Cameo, Perfect. Now, this is the game that I went back to play. Perfect Dark and Perfect Dark Zero. You have the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion, Viva Pinata. Can never say that. Insane, guys. And again, this is just, you have Game Pass, and here you go. You don't even have to do anything. Here you go. Insane value. But anyone else can add to that if they want.
Yeah, Ace, I'm totally like you. I don't go backwards. I don't go backwards. I'm not really excited. But for something to come to a service, when I seen Banjo-Kazooie, Fallout, Fable, Gears of War, and stuff like that, I just thought these are must-have for people who've not played them, especially when you come to cloud on the go. I was like, these are so the games I've been raving about the last 10, 20 plus years. And when I thought to myself, this is amazing to bring. I know a lot of people don't like backwards compatible, but because it's coming to cloud with an FPS boost and make possible touch, I thought this is going to be amazing to have.
I know a couple of us have got Xbox Series X's here, maybe some Xbox One X's. I would recommend, if you have it, download Assassin's Creed, the original Assassin's Creed, and go just have your eyes open with that. What they have done to that is absolutely amazing. It looks like a complete remaster of the game, where they've just upped the resolution on it. And I think the gameplay has aged, but the actual look of the game, they're doing some magic sort of stuff there with their backwards compatibility stuff. It is just absolutely brilliant.
Does and also, go ahead.
Sorry, and also the preserving games, aren't they? The legacy of this whole service and device. So going forward, it'll be great to see that these games are not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
That's true.
Yeah.
I also found it interesting that nobody expected it either, right? Nobody expected them to revamp all their old games, or as many of their old games as they could, to make them worthy of being on next gen, rather than just leaving the Xbox One ports or the Xbox One X ports that will look okay, but not really next gen on the next gen console. They've just thought, well, actually, we've got all these games there, we've got the tech. Let's make the old games look like next gen games and let people get into playing them again.
I mean, and you guys notice nothing is really ever new under the sun, right? They're simply taking models, successful models from streaming and subscriptions, and just revamping it for gaming. I mean, think about it. I can sit down and watch Netflix and pull up an old cartoon that I watched when I was like 10 years old. So it should be the same for gaming. You know, if I feel nostalgic, I can go back and play a game that I played 10 years ago.
So true.
Except now it will look like a brand new game.
The more often you feel that nostalgic. The older you get, the more you need to go back and get those memories going again.
Yep. Plus, if you're going to go back and play a Fallout game, especially to maybe get the taste of 76 out your mouth, then New Vegas is a good place to go.
So, just real quick, guys, since we have a little time, if Microsoft can, so with xCloud, here's my theory with why this is not where they are, right? They know once they, and I think they're working on it, they know once they can match Google Stadia's performance, I would go as far as to say, like, it's going to be hard for anyone to compete with them, right? I think they know what they have, and I think they know where they need to go with cloud, and I think it's just a matter of time. That's why they're not even like stressing about the cloud. They're working on it, but I think once they are ready, it's going to be hard as hell for anyone to compete with xCloud.
Yeah,
well, we
absolutely.
said for a while that Stadia had a few months to sort itself out after its announcement of the closure of the studio. It does look like they're pushing, because we're seeing a lot of games, a lot of announcements. So hopefully that means that there's life. But it is also, like you said, xCloud is looming. It's still capped at 720. The PC app has mixed results right now. We know that there's still hardware problems because people still can't buy Series X blades. So the likelihood of them upgrading to this X blades is probably slim, because they want to get those consoles out to the people first before they go, let's just farm off 500 or a few thousand of these consoles to go and put into our data centers. So that's delayed. But like you said, they are so focused on Game Pass and bringing those games and everything else right now that cloud doesn't really matter. It's a nice to have. But we still see them bringing touch controls. We still see them bringing new games to the cloud. So it's still not forgotten. But I'm in agreement with you. I think Stadia and even GeForce Now to a point will be in serious trouble when xCloud comes at least 1080. And if they make xCloud 1440 or 4K, everybody's in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody that has gamed locally on an Xbox One S, you know why xCloud has the problems that it has. Games do not run well on that hardware, and a lot of that hardware that we're dealing with in xCloud is based off of that. So we've got to get to the Series X, not the 1S, not 1X. We need to get proper cloud. And once they do that, it's going to get pretty insane. And Xbox has been doing a great job ever since they almost pretty much closed. They almost quit at the launch of Xbox One. That was almost the end for them. And what have they been doing since then? Gaining loyalty of gamers, listening to the consumer. They started blogs where people could say something and it would happen. They've just really been catering to the gamers and the consumer, and it's really paying off. And back in 2018, Phil Spencer said Microsoft, Xbox is 3 to 5 years away from cloud being to that point where we feel like it's kind of like ready. So we're at that 3-year mark, and they're still talking about maybe 4K by the end of this year and into next spring. So for them, they're right on target for what they've been planning to do, and they're becoming an absolute dominant force globally for gaming and fast.
Before, when Spencer said our biggest competitor are Amazon and Google, I did see them like being really concerned. But now I think they're just chilling because they know what they have in Game Pass, and they know that they're working on the tech. I don't think I think they know what they have, and I think in time we're gonna see that all come to the cloud. But
I
think
agree.
we're going to see
I agree.
iOS before. I think we'll see iOS before we see an upgrade in quality, and that will be the next big step, I think. Sorry, Gamer.
No, that's totally fine. I was just going to agree with you guys. I think they've taken Google's hardest punch and survived it and said, okay, that really didn't hit us too hard. That's fine. And Luna, they aren't worried about those guys. They're slow rolling it out just the same. But they're, I've had this discussion with someone before where I said, is it easier for Xbox, Microsoft to catch Stadia's tech versus Stadia catching Microsoft's library?
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh,
it's a heck of a lot easier for Microsoft to catch up with the tech.
Right.
So they aren't worried about, the library is the hardest thing to accumulate. So they're good.
Yeah, I would say so. So you guys look go ahead.
I was just going to say, in the next couple of weeks on Game Pass, this is what everybody is competing against. Microsoft are going to have FIFA, Football Manager, Madden, NHL, MLB, and NBA. Just think about that. That is all your sports basically covered, bar golf, all the major sports, and that is going to be on Game Pass. And I think that really nails it. I think you can see where they're going, and I just can't believe where that how people are going to compete with this going forward. People are going to have to get the big checkbook out if there's still any checkbook, or
Yeah.
the big bank transfers out there to just really get this going. Because I want some serious competition with Microsoft, because I think everybody wins them.
Yeah. Competition is great, and I echo that too. That's why I'm fingers crossed they don't acquire. We know they will, but if they acquire like Sega, Capcom, my goodness. But someone was saying here, we haven't even truly started seeing like the games, right? They just wait for E3 this year. I think, who knows what they're doing with Halo Infinite. We know it's delayed. We know they're working on Fable. Once those games start coming to Game Pass, my goodness, guys, it's gonna be a problem. But
You watch, we'll see New World on Game Pass in a few months.
Yeah, but it's so great to say, like, Game Pass. I know we just mentioned like FIFA 21 on Game Pass, but it's not on the cloud portion, is it? Where when I've been excited for like Skyrim and Oblivion, that is actually coming to the cloud. So even though I'm a Game Pass subscriber, I still need the hardware. So I can't be really that excited, because I think it's like a loophole for me as a cloud enthusiast. So I would like them to work with EA ASAP, and maybe get FIFA 22 and all these other sports games on cloud ASAP.
Yeah. I think there's a limitation, like Jerry was saying, with us still having this Xbox One S blades, right? I think once the Series X blades come to the cloud, then we can see those games there.
The hardware and the contracts will catch up. And Microsoft's ultimate goal is that even if Game Pass can't include every single one of those games onto xCloud, they want to include every purchase you make. And that would be good enough to get things kicking off. Because even the likes of Stadia, you're going to have to buy those games, right? And that type of thing. Or if you want to play on Xbox, you're going to buy those games. So if they could at least make all your purchases available, that would be great. Being part of the Game Pass subscription also would be even better, but I could see there's always going to be some fragmentation, especially since all games don't come to PC, console, and cloud anyway as it is. So there's always going to be something, but it's going to get a lot better.
Yeah. But it goes back to the point where we said at the early podcast, why aren't the services working with the publishers? For example, like Outriders is terrible on Gamepass, on xCloud. Now, to me, that hurts xCloud going forward, that other publishers will fall by the wayside working with xCloud. So Microsoft needs to up it quick for the games that are going to come, that I would love to play in the spring and the fall.
So if
I've
xCloud
played Outriders on the 1S locally,
if xCloud, sorry, Jared, go ahead.
You're good. It's that bad. That's why it's so bad in xCloud. It's just as bad locally. 1S, the older hardware just can't run these games, and what Holtz is saying, they've got to get those upgrades going quick, and I have a hunch it's happening.
Yeah.
Because I can't wait 2-3 years. I can't wait for 2-3 years. The next spring and fall game, that's where I need Xbox to hurry up. So
there are rumors, and I'm going to put big rumors, that April, May is going to be a very big month.
We're in April, guys, and May's next month. So this should be exciting stuff coming for xCloud. But let's get into Shadow. And Mark, I'm glad you're back. Welcome. And I know you probably don't have the inside deeds, but let's speculate. What the hell is going on, guys? Again, we are running out of time. When they held that Twitch event, they said they give us like a certain time frame. What's happening, guys? Let's speculate. Or do you think they're gonna get bought out? Do you think they are in serious trouble? What do you think is going on? We haven't heard anything. People on forums, Reddit, have been asking what's going on. No one's saying anything. So since they're not talking, we're gonna talk, right?
So just before we get the Shadow Guy opinion on this, what I found very interesting was that they cancelled the Twitch, the double every other week Twitch stream, because they knew the fallout was coming, right? They have gone silent. They're saying that there's still development. We saw the news announcement come out via email and the forum post, which was very sketchy on the details this time round, where they've been quite open about what they're doing. And a lot of alarm bells are ringing for me right now, because when they put that first one out, they said this process takes a few 2 to 3 weeks. We will update you soon. It's been a month, and they have shied away from everything. So either that deal didn't go through, or something else is happening. But I do know that, especially in Europe, the foreclosure, the bankruptcy proceedings have to be done within 3 months. So they're third way through, and now things are starting to close in. So at the moment, it's not looking good. And I have had a ton of issues with Shadow recently. So I don't know what's been going on, but I've had problems connecting. My stream quality's gone to absolute rubbish. I've had it restarting. I've had games not starting up. I had to reset it completely back to factory settings to get stuff to work again. So to me, it's not looking great on Shadow right now. And I'm hoping that they come out of it, because it is still one of the best virtual PCs out there. And I've got the gameplay test coming up with Outriders. It's a 1080 equivalent, and it still plays Outriders actually pretty well compared to a lot of the other systems out there. So they do need to step it up, but they have gone silent, and it's the worst thing they can do right now, in my opinion.
Agreed. So, Mark, what's your take, man? If you can guess, speculate, what do you think is happening?
I mean, straight away, I can confirm. Yeah, I know nothing. We got asked a bunch on my stream earlier. It's ongoing legal proceedings where we would usually be quite chatty about stuff. Yeah, I got zero information on what's going on. There's definitely been a bit of give and take since that announcement. So obviously they made the announcement. There was obviously that struck a panic with people. And in the 2 weeks following, there were kind of rollouts of improvements. We got a big patch recently. I think 4.4.4 just came to alpha this week. So they're still doing big development work, which kind of that's your give. But the take is, by the way, we're not going to be doing Shadow news for until further notice. So it puts me in a very confused state. I thought the estimate they gave originally was a bit optimistic anyway for this type of proceeding, especially for they need to do it for the EU and the US. If it's a single purchaser, then they need to do that. And they were saying 2 to 3 weeks. That is optimistic in terms of moving anything like this forward, especially with, I don't know if there's reduced staff or things like that. The pandemic basically slowed everything down. I'm going to assume this is the same thing. So I don't think it's a case of it's fallen through. I think things are taking longer than they were supposed to. Even if something goes through, so they've got a buyer lined up, the acquisition goes through, I still can't guarantee what that means. That could mean that it carries on as normal. They keep all of their staff. If they keep, the high up people who have been turning it around, like JB, then we will see these continued improvements, either to the streaming software with the stuff we're getting recently, the dual screen, the 4.4.4. He's testing hardware, so we will eventually get hardware improvements and things like that. Or somebody could come in and they could take it and just absorb it into whatever existing business model they have. If they're in the business of server hosting, virtual machines for corporate clients, literally could be anything, but they could just swallow what hardware they do, like Shadow do have, pay off the debts, keep what they've got. I'm torn between the two, and I couldn't tell you right now.
Interesting. So I'll just bring this up. When Stadia made the announcement of them closing first-party studios, a lot of us came on here and said, they need to follow that right away. Some PR from top needs to come out and just address the future of what's going on and where Stadia is headed. The silence, like Chief was saying, it is concerning. And I think making that announcement, it'll be good to have open transparency with your customers. And
yeah, the exact opposite of canceling your weekly news, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so again, I'm putting them on blast here too. going silent when, people expecting to hear news after making an announcement like that, it's not good. And so they need to say something soon, because I feel like people are losing.
Well, as a Shadow subscriber, I'm in two minds, because I said bankruptcy first, and I was happy with bankruptcy, even though I was upset I didn't want the service to go anywhere. And then I was like, well, people said, don't cancel it because you would have to resubscribe. If it succeeds, have a little bit of faith. So I was like, I'll put a little bit of faith in. I've paid 2 more payments, and I was like, yes, they're going to bring iOS features. They're coming back strong. I would be wrong. But now they've been silent, it's really making me worried to click that cancel first before they take more money off me in the future, because I'm starting to feel like it is going belly up.
Yeah,
Stadia and Shadow both dropped big bombs, and then they didn't do anything to clean up the mess. And that's why I still sit here concerned about Stadia and Shadow both being gone. I think Shadow has more of a chance of being gone sooner and Stadia becoming something else. But yeah, they came out and said some crazy stuff and then just left it.
Yeah,
both of them did, and that has just left so much doubt in some people's minds. That's why a lot of people aren't going to Shadow or Stadia right now.
Yeah. I'm sure you get it, Mark and Jerry, because we do. People still asking the question, what's going on? Should I make that investment? I really like Shadow, but I'm concerned. And again, just communication, same thing. We give Stadia a lot of flack for.
And
I feel
what's sad, there's a lot of people that actually are using Shadow still to make their living. Like, this is the PC they use. It's been the best virtual machine, like Chief said. It still is one of the best. They have the best software, and it's gonna affect a lot of people if they don't make it, for sure.
Yeah, I think they're gone, but unfortunately, and we use Shadow for our streams, when we're doing our play-alongs and whatnot. We are using Shadow as the driver of that, because it's just so good at that for when you're doing Stadia stuff. You're doing even the GFN. I think it's absolutely class to use that, and I'm going to be really annoyed when it's gone. But I think
you're in California.
Yeah, but it's definitely not looking good, and the cancelling of the live stream is a real riot. Yeah. Okay, Hell Monkey. Well, Shadow is dead. There you go. clip it.
So let me just point to Shadow's PR and issue them having. So I've been talking to them, and I'm also in the forums and hearing people have this complaint. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and you guys just tell me how. First of all, I have a situation, maybe someone who's watching can help me. Second of all, you guys tell me if this is a good PR. So if you guys don't know what's going on, I'm having an issue with Google Stadia running on Shadow. And I'm not the only one, because I know of others. Dustin, who did some news for us, is having the same issue. We're pretty close West Coast area. And so I have an error. I'm using the Windows app, trying to play Google Stadia on my Shadow PC. I get this error. It says that the connection is not stable enough. It does, and it doesn't work. I don't know if I finished that here. All right, so they reply yesterday. Hello, me. Thanks for the message. Shadow is a cloud game PC, so it's not made to use another cloud game platform on it. I invite you only to use Shadow and no other platform to game. Have a nice day. Okay. What the hell?
I'm not being funny, but I actually played Stadia on iOS. That was the only way I played it on my tablet through Shadow and stuff like that. And I've played other cloud services using Shadow. I never had no problems. So when they're saying you shouldn't be doing it, I was like, yeah, it ran flawless in the past.
I did it
what's
before.
Your problem?
Right.
It still does for me. But for anybody in the California data center, it's dead.
It's dead.
I don't know what they've done. It's just unplayable.
And so, like, okay,
That's how I play Boosteroid.
Yeah,
it works on my Shadow. Yeah, I
but
get a decent connection to Boosteroid through my Shadow.
But the way they it's like, have a nice day. Like, that's it. Like, there's no solution.
Anyway, we haven't told you that we've sold parts and stuff like that. We're slowly closing down. We're not going to tell you. Just don't play cloud on it.
Yeah. But it's crazy because I'm going on forums and people lately are having issues with like getting support. So I'm wondering what's going on there too. Did people get fired? Are they lacking staff? Or staff just don't care because who knows what's going on there? But this is, I think, becoming an issue that needs to be kind of addressed.
It's funny because they're just mirroring the image to you, and then you're sending the inputs to them. It's just like a normal PC, your end. So what's your problem if you're running cloud on that side?
Exactly. I don't know, but I don't know how to
that
respond
comment
to
that just got to me was, Shadow is a cloud gaming PC. You shouldn't use it for anything else.
Like, what the hell?
What?
Who are
No,
you to tell me?
it's a PC. I
And
can
I'm
use
the
it
PC
however
in the
I
cloud.
want.
I'm paying you guys money too. Like, don't tell me how to.
Just don't cloud game on it. It's a cloud PC. Just don't cloud game on it. And
So
fine.
crazy.
You should have sent back. Well, give me bigger hard drive space, and I'll install it locally there, and then I'll stream it.
That'd be like
It's
them
just
saying, "Don't
quite
use it to stream to
interesting.
YouTube. Don't stream on it."
Yeah. Anyway, but guys, that is time. Hopefully we covered everything. And Gamer TV, I can't tell you how thankful I am, and we are, to have you, especially for this podcast with Outriders. I felt like that conversation was brilliant, and thank you again for being a part of that.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah, just want to give the members on here a chance to plug in their channels and what they do. So to get started, Holtz, you can take it first.
Well, you can see me on Holtz86 on Twitter, and you can see me on the chat windows on most channels. Just say hi and anything you want to discuss.
Cool. And how about you, Mark? What do you do and where can people find you?
Yep, Mark. Almost forgot my own freaking channel then. It is past midnight here in the UK. Mark Woods VOG on Twitter and YouTube for cloud gaming, VR stuff, although I'm lacking in that department recently. And Mark VOG on TikTok if you want to be horrendously disturbed.
And Duncan, what do you do, sir? Where can people find you?
I'm just going to plug this again. I'm getting banned off Twitter shortly, and you can make that longer if you go to Stadia Dad's channel there. And there's a link there where you can donate for every £500 I am a day off Twitter. We're up to 3 days so far. You can find me at Cloudy with Games. We've got a giveaway for the game which has been talked about the most, and Outriders. If you go check out our Twitter page for that. And tomorrow we're doing Among Us, and everybody is welcome to join that.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun. I might join you guys there. Good one to stream. How about you, Jerry? What do you do? Where can people find you?
Yeah, as always, at Game Tech Planet for Twitter. We got Game Tech Planet on YouTube, everything from Cloud Console and PC. It was awesome to have Gamer TV here. I'm always bugging him on Twitter. He's a great down-the-middle guy, part of what I would call the positive gaming community, so it was awesome that he was able to jump on here with us. And to anybody that does celebrate Happy Easter, I'm getting ready to go dye eggs and get busy, so.
That's right. That's right. Cool. And Gamer TV, by the way, like Jerry was saying, you guys go give him some love, man. He does some amazing content, especially like if you're into cloud gaming. So just tell the people what you do and where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, so Twitter is at GMRTV Plus, and the link to the YouTube channel is on the Twitter page. So, and thank you for letting me know to do that, because I didn't do it. It wasn't natural. You're like, hey man, you should put it in your header too. I'm like, smart. But yeah, so I do a lot of quick short form content, just so you guys can get in, get out, and be done, but informative.
Yeah, it's so crazy because your videos are short but very informative, and it's just like being a dad, right? It's so good to just get a quick fix of like comparison wise, this works, this does not work, I should try this update, I should not try this update. So good stuff, man. And again, y'all go over there, show him some love for sure.
I know I'm definitely going over there right now because your voice, you could tell me anything about tech and I'd be like, oh yeah, that's it. Frame rates per second. I'm like, yes.
For sure. Link is in the description too. So just go there, click it, subscribe. Good stuff. And Chief, sir, what do you do? Where? Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys should know me from this channel. And you can find me right here, annoying everybody week after week. Usually in the chat though.
Is it fair to call you a Stadia hater?
No, I'm not going to go down that road.
Okay. Okay.
He said 3 Chromecast. My kids play it pretty much daily. I've got FIFA on there.
That's why I asked the
I will
question.
play what's on there. So I will give Stadia the pain because Outriders is on Square Enix, but they shouldn't have released it.
So just to clarify, Chief uses Stadia. His family uses Stadia, guys. It's so crazy when I read messages in the comparison that he's favoring one platform. Complete opposite. So again, just want to give you room to clear that out. But appreciate you guys watching. This was a lot of fun. We'll be back next week. So I'll give you guys a rundown on our guests. So we have Clive Linden is going to be our guest next week. Should be fun. And then we have Brian from the Nerd Report. It's going to be our guest the following week. So good stuff coming to you guys. Always good to have guests on here who are passionate about cloud gaming, like Gamer TV. So appreciate you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Till next time, peace out.